Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today there are great news from Fenix. The long-awaited update V2 is just around the corner. However, it is going to be split slightly, but that is something I'm going to explain in a few moments. Also, Fenix have announced 2 new aircraft which are going to be released in a single package towards the end of the year. So stay tuned for some very exciting update. Let's go ahead and start with the source of today's video, and the source is a blog post that Fenix have made on their website, which I'm going to link in the video description below so that you can read up on it. Now let's start getting into the actual content. The Fenix V2 update that we have been waiting for almost a year now, that promises a lot of great new stuff and long-awaited fixes, is finally around the corner and going to be released very, very soon. So before we start going into it, a little word over here from because I know that some of you are going to suggest me an agenda and stuff like that. There simply is none. You know, while I'm advising PMDG, I'm still a big fan of the Fenix Airbus, even though it has some issues. But who knows, a lot of those are probably going to be solved with the coming update. So, let's go right into it. By the way, that is not to say that there would be no issues with the 737, obviously. Okay, so in the blog post, Fenix have announced that they have reached a milestone in the V2 development, which basically finished certain modules, which are now ready to go, and do not rely on dependencies that are still in progress. And for that reason, we are going to see those released at first in what they call Block 1 of the upcoming update. Now, Block 1 is going to include the new fly-by-wire, the new flight model, the first of their new displays, and all the code-sided performance optimization, a good chunk of the non-dependent avionics improvement throughout the airplane, including new VNAV and bug fixes aplenty. So that is very good news there for a lot of us who have been waiting for those for quite a while. Now, let's quickly talk about the difference between fly-by-wire and flight model, because I have a feeling that quite some of us flight simulation enthusiasts don't quite know what the difference is. So, fly-by-wire, in a broader term, simply means connection of the input device in the cockpit, in this case the side stick, to the control surfaces. So there are no mechanical cables or mechanical links or anything the like, it's simply a wire connection. However, in Airbus speak, fly-by-wire is usually referred to as the flight computers, which actually calculate the demand required. Remember, with the side stick you are going to enter not a direct command to the control surface, but rather a required roll rate, so a rate at which the airplane banks, and a required pitch rate, or rather G-loading. So the rate at which you accelerate the nose upwards or downwards. Now, ultimately this means it flies close to a conventional airplane, but there are differences over there. Now, the flight model, on the other hand side, describes how the airplane flies through the air. So while the fly-by-wire in broader term means how the airplane handles when you do an input on the stick, the flight model is, for example, what we see right now, the relationship between the power of the engines, the pitch, and the resultant vertical speed and indicated airspeed. That is more like the flight model. And remember, in previous versions, for example, when we were flying below flight level 100, 250 knots in idle thrust, an A320 should do something about 1,800 feet a minute in such a situation, and the Fenix did, for example, more like 2,300. So that's part of the flight model and not part of the fly-by-wire. So, excuse me for that rather lengthy explanation, but I just found it important because I still see the terms being mixed up, and that way we know what to expect in the coming update. Also is a new VNAV, which is something that I've been really waiting for, because there were some things with it, and it's very, very great to see that that has been changed. So the full changelog will be available when the update is going to be rolled out, and that is going to set the stage for the second phase of delivering the Fenix V2, which is expected to conclude by the end of September in 2023. Now, Block 2 is going to include the new visual model, the IAE engines and external engine model, further avionic fixes, the EFB version 2, and any revisions or improvement they see required to block number 1. So, why did they split it into 2 blocks anyway? Well, that is quite easy indeed. Just like most software developers do, when there are certain fixes available and they are in a state where they can be pushed out to the customer, there is just no reason to keep them, to yourself and keep working on totally different and unrelated stuff. So for that reason, Fenix is going to release the block that is finished now, and the block that still needs a little bit of work by the end of next month. Alright, so let's go ahead with the even bigger announcement, and that is not the Fenix V2, or rather not the Fenix A320v2, but 2 new aircraft, the Airbus A319 and Airbus A321, which are going to be released towards the end of the year at a price point of £39.99 British pounds. So both aircraft in one package, 319 and 321, and they come for a price of £39.99. Now, British pounds is a currency which we don't really see too often in flight simulations, so allow me the freedom to convert that into US dollars, and it ends up somewhere around $50 US, 50, which is going to be the price for the 19 and 21. So, those are going to be released towards the end of the year, and finally, the eagle-eyed among you will have spotted that sharklets haven't been mentioned yet. And the reason for that is that sharklets for both the 320, 321 and 319 are going to be released early into 2024 as a free update to the products. Now, why is that? There is actually a little bit of reason given there from Fenix in the blog post, and they say that such a strategy was necessary due to financial reasons. And if we take a moment to think about it, they sell the A320 at a rather low price compared to other similar fidelity add-ons, and they've been working on it for quite a while, so it probably means that they also have some bills to pay, and therefore they decide to release the 319 and 21 before bringing out the sharklets for the 320, just to be sure to be able to finance the continued development. Alright, so that is the recent update. Now, there's a lot of more detailed information available in it in the blog post that Fenix have made, so be sure to read that in the video description below. You'll find the link, and that is going to conclude today's news. Exciting news, I absolutely have to say. I'm really looking forward to those releases, especially the 2 new aircraft types. But in the meantime, I am looking forward to hear what you think about it. Do you think that they have taken too much time, or do you think that once it's out, the time it took will completely be forgotten and the new features are simply going to be enjoyed by the flight simulation? I'm certainly part of the second group there. I know that people will always be like, well, but we need to do more and there should be more updates and so on. Well, the honest answer to that is, yeah, there should. But, hey, take a quick second to think about it. Things take time to develop, especially if something initially doesn't turn out as expected and the public is simply waiting for it. So, yeah, things do take time, but there is a very nice saying there. You can have something good, fast, or cheap. Pick any combination of the 2 of them. In this case, the pricing for the 320 is rather low, the quality is rather good, so it ain't gonna be very fast. And that is what we see. But ultimately, once it's out, I'm sure all of that is quickly going to be forgotten. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. Looking forward to it. Leave your comment to let me know what you think about it, and let me know what you think about my reasoning in this video. And then I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one, and hopefully very soon in the Fenix update. Thank you very much, and see you all again very soon.